what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Out of the Blue Reviews. Tonight, we are talking about Mortal Kombat's biggest DLC in years, the Aftermath expansion, adding in 3 new characters, 4 new stages, stage fatalities, friendships, and a new addition to the main story of the game. We're going to break this down to talk about the characters first, then talk about stage fatalities and friendships, and then move into the story mode, as well as talking about a couple of controversial topics that have arisen with the update. That being said, let's get into it. We're starting off with Robocop. When I first saw the gameplay trailer for Robocop, at the end of the big reveal trailer for the DLC, Robocop was revealed as the DLC's guest character, and I didn't really know too much about the character. I'd seen the Terminator movies, but I hadn't seen Robocop, so I didn't know too much about him. So I wasn't really excited that he was being added into the game, but I wasn't like other people who were just overall hating on the addition. I was just more skeptical than anything else. So in the weeks leading up to the DLC's release, I took the time to watch the first 2 Robocop films, and I must say, I fell in love. So, it not only introduced me to a great series of movies, at least the first 2 are great in my book, haven't seen the other ones yet, but it also increased my hype for the guest character. So when a few days later, the gameplay trailer was released, and we actually got to see how Robocop played, my excitement rose tenfold. And interestingly, he looked like he played very similarly to the Cyber Ninjas, being Sector or Cyrax. And actually having the chance to play him, my hypothesis was sort of correct. He does have a lot of range moves similar to Sector. He has the major cannon from the Robocop series, as well as you can, in the variation select menu, you can also add in a wrist-mounted missile launcher, which highly resembles Sector's missile attacks. He's slow, just like the Cyber Ninjas, slow and clunky, but also he also does have some solid close range and mid-range combo capabilities. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I am no fighting game guru. I am not the greatest at landing major combos, nor do I claim to be anything more than a casual fan. As such, I can't tell you what combos are the greatest to use, and I can't really offer that much advice in terms of how to improve as Robocop, or any of the characters for this matter. I can only review these characters as a casual fan who enjoys fighting games but isn't the absolute best at them. But I do believe that there is a lot of potential for Robocop's variations and for him in the competitive Mortal Kombat scene. Like all characters, he has an extensive move list that you can add to his move set through the variation creation area in the customization window. Each of them will fit a different playstyle, whether you want to be a zoner or close range counter, it's up to you. Now, in terms of the character himself, his cosmetics are pretty dang good. And another really cool thing that they did was that they actually got Robocop's actor to come in. That's right, Peter Weller himself came in to voice Robocop for the DLC. I think that's really cool. So, not only do we have a really high definition and great looking Robocop, but we also have the actual voice and actor of Robocop playing the game. So, unlike the Terminator who we unfortunately didn't get Arnold himself to voice him, we actually got Peter Weller himself to play the iconic character. And I'm not trying to diss the Terminator's actor for Mortal Kombat. He did a decent job, or pretty good job. However, I still think it's really cool that they got the original Robocop actor to play the character. But a lot of his moves, both names and the actual execution, are references to the movies. His fatalities are references to the movies. And a lot of his skins reflect both the original films, some comics, and the newer films as well. So this, like all the characters, Robocop has a lot of customization options, as well as some Mortal Kombat themed skins. Like I do believe, unless I labeled it wrong, but he has a couple of the skins that are actually based off of the Cyber Ninjas, which I think is really cool. How even though we currently can't play as the Cyber Ninjas in-game unless you are using mods, you can still, technically, I guess, play as them through Robocop. But his walk cycle is a bit faster than Robocop was in the movie. However, in the newer films, he did get a significant speed boost, so I don't know, maybe... Again, it's also a fighting game. No one wants to play as a character who moves like a tank. But at least the walk cycle is pretty accurate to the original films. And again, I can't complain with his appearance, nor can I complain with the actor. While there was a lot of hype surrounding Spawn, honestly, Robocop to me is my favorite of the guest characters brought in. I surprisingly enjoyed Joker, and the Terminator was cool and all, and yeah, Spawn was great as well. But for me, the Terminator is my favorite. He has some of the coolest brutalities in the game, in my opinion, and just overall is a fun character to play as, especially if you are a fan of the Cyber Ninjas. So if you like the Cyber Ninjas, you will really like Robocop. He's fun, he's not really super pick up and play, but he's not super difficult to play either. So he's really a character that anybody can enjoy, but there is some complexity to him that over time players can learn and master. I, again, really like Robocop. Next up, we have Sheeva, who, unlike Robocop, actually plays a role both in the main storyline of Mortal Kombat 11, as well as the Aftermath DLC. Sheeva is your pick-up-and-play character. A lot of her combos are incredibly simple and easy to do, and a lot of her main iconic moves are pretty easy. The iconic Sheeva jump is literally just pressing down and up on your controller. One of her main kick moves is literally just back X or A, and you do a lot of damage. She, unlike Robocop, isn't that great at distance. She has a fireball attack that can be amplified. That does decent damage, but you can't really rely on that. Your best bet with her is to close distance. Again, she does have distance options, like the previously mentioned fireball, and you can give her the dragon stance move, which gives her 4 fireballs to throw at enemies, but they're not that great in comparison to other distance moves. So instead, a lot of your heavy-hitting attacks are going to be close range, so you're going to want to close distance. With Sheeva, I can actually give you some advice for some combos because I've gotten pretty good at her. She has several walk moves, one of which is just an extended version of her already existing kick. However, she gains a quick run before actually executing the move. Her previously mentioned jump attack is back as well, and it can cover the entire stage. It's a perfect way to close distance, and if you do the move 3 times in a match, you will gain a crushing blow, which does a lot of damage. She is, again, a severe grappler. So again, if you can close distance, you are going to deal a lot of damage, and only a couple of her moves are actually blockable. So, only a couple of her grapples are actually blockable. So if you get in close, your opposition isn't going to be able to counter that much unless they move away. So a good counter technique for fighting Sheeva is to keep your distance, because if she gets close and starts landing hits, you're screwed. You know, for every character in Mortal Kombat 11, they've now had their own gimmicky weapon to use. You know, Scorpion, of course, has his iconic hook, or spear, I guess it's called, as well as swords. Jax has a grenade launcher. Jackie has wrist-mounted guns. Kotal Khan has a large broadsword. Collector has like a flail thing, as well as several knives. And they gave Sheeva a shield. Now, at first, I was kind of skeptical about it. Personally, I thought that they could have been more creative with it, like giving her 4, like, I don't know, scimitars, or 4 something as a cool, creative forearm weapon. A weapon that would use all of her arms. However, actually getting a player, the shield's fine. She doesn't actually use the shield in any of her fatalities. However, several of her moves utilize the shield pretty well. She has a shield spin attack where she can close distance quickly, and it also gains a crushing blow. And it's also used for some of her basic combos, basic attacks. If you want to actually get somebody away from you, she can use a shield and then combine it with a kick. Gets great distance. But overall, Sheeva is a lot of fun, and in my opinion, she has some of the most brutal fatalities in the game. Let's take a peek at both of them real quick.
Fatality. Sheeva wins.
Okay, when first seeing the second one, I didn't think it was that bad, because I didn't fully hear it. But this one, you have to hear it to truly understand how brutal it is. Here we go.
Fatality. Sheeva wins.
Pretty disgusting, right? I mean, there's very few things that make my skin crawl, but that was one of them. Just the sound it makes of the spine leaving that person's body is just ugh. But again, Sheeva's combos, fatalities, fatal blow, all of it is really good. Now, let's also talk about appearance again. Sheeva, at this point in time in lore, is the queen of the Shokan species, or race, in Outworld. And she now dresses like a warrior queen, wearing more of an armored appearance, as opposed to her previous MK9 look, which was more like all the women in that game, incredibly skimpy. And actually, Shao Kahn comments on the change of wardrobe.
Does it surprise you that I am queen?
No, but I miss your skimpier attire.
I do not dress for you, Shao Kahn.
Round 1. Fight.
Again, it's just showing off Netherrealm being self-aware about character design. I personally like what they did. I think her design reflects her character, and I like it. It's like a four-armed gladiator. It's pretty cool. But again, Sheeva is your pick-up-and-play character. Her combos aren't too difficult, and I mean, again, they're pretty simple, but they're satisfying to pull off nonetheless. And each hit truly feels like it has the brutal impact you'd expect from a Mortal Kombat character, especially from the same species as Goro. So overall, Sheeva is my second favorite character from this DLC. So finally, that leaves us with one final DLC character to cover. Let's get into it, shall we? Our final character is Fujin, and he is incredibly difficult to play as. And that is not by any means a diss towards the character. I do not mean that in a negative way whatsoever. He is a challenging character to learn, which means that he is going to be played by those who are highly skilled at the game. It's going to take me some time to learn his moveset. However, I feel like he is going to be a really strong character to play in the competitive scene once players truly get good as him. Fujin is incredibly, as mentioned, an incredibly high skill ceiling character with a lot of combos that take time to learn. He is not a pick up and play character. It will take you a decent amount of time to learn his combos. When I first saw the gameplay trailer, Fujin looked absolutely broken. His combos looked off the charts, and it looked like he was going to absolutely destroy. And he more than likely still will. Once, of course, you get down the combos. Because, like all the high skill ceiling characters, once you learn them, you are going to absolutely wreck house as him. He is fast-paced, but has a lot of ranged options, including a force push type thing, as well as his crossbow. Has a couple grapple type moves that you can only really access after doing a short combo, as seen here, and using a move given to him in the variation selector, you can amplify them, which also gives access to a crushing blow, as well as more combo opportunities. Fujin is he's a fun character once you get into him. I'm, again, not very good at him, so I can't really give you the ins and outs of how to play him. His Fatal Blow is pretty good. Let's take a peek at that real quick. Pretty good, right? I personally really like his Fatal Blow. But again, Fujin's a high skill, high reward character that I'm sure once players adjust to him, he will have a major impact on the competitive scene of the game. And again, like Sheeva, he also plays a major role in the game's story. Which, again, is pretty cool to play as a character who has a major impact on the lore. But if you're really into characters like Raiden, in terms of playing as gods or demigods, Fujin is also your guy. Now, Fujin's fatalities have grown on me. When we first saw his second fatality during the combat cast for Fujin, I wasn't really too ecstatic about it, and the one shown in the gameplay trailer looked kind of meh too. However, actually seeing them multiple times now, they've both grown on me a lot. I know that I'm saying a lot of positive stuff about the characters, but honestly, I think they knocked it out of the park here. So let's take a peek at both of his fatalities, shall we?
Fatality. Fujin wins. Fatality. Fujin wins.
I personally really like both of them, and both of them have grown on me a lot. So Fujin, again, great character, a lot of fun once you get decent at him. Although one quick complaint, not really about Fujin himself, but more of a complaint about game mechanics, is the breakaway. I understand that it's annoying to get beaten to a pulp in a corner by somebody who knows what he's doing and just using combos that prevent you from actually playing the game the entire time. However, it's also annoying when you're playing well and then someone can just do a breakaway and get out of a combo. I understand the reasoning behind the features addition. However, I believe that more moves should have a breakaway breaker, so you can break through that character's defenses while they're doing the breakaway and get back right into your combo. Again, I think that there'll be like a balance thing that'll need to be implemented so that breakaway will still be viable, so that people aren't spammed to oblivion. But at the same time, it's annoying when you're actually playing well and then your opponent just has a breakaway and your cool combo was just disrupted. That's just my thoughts on that. Nothing against Fujin, just a complaint about the game itself. Now then, we've covered the characters. Let's cover the stage fatalities, shall we? Currently, only 3 stages in the game have stage fatalities. One of which being the new stage, Deadpool. Let's go ahead and mention that. The DLC added in a free update the stage fatalities, 4 new stages, and friendships, all for free. But these stages are Deadpool. There's an arcade stage that has some reflections on some classic Mortal Kombat stages like the Pit, Shang Tsung's Restored Island, the Metro Station, and I believe the Outworld Swamp as well. They also had Kronika's Keep and the what is it called? The Soul Chamber. But as of right now, only the tournament stage, the Shaolin Trap Dungeon, and Deadpool have stage fatalities. They look pretty good. However, I kind of expected more at launch. Well, let's talk a bit more about what could have been done differently in a little bit. For now, let's actually show off the stage fatalities.
Fatality. Robocop wins. Fatality. Liu Kang wins. Fatality. Noob Saibot wins.
Again, all 3 of them look really good. However, for a feature as advertised as the stage fatalities were, I kind of expected them to have more of them. Even if it was just 1 or 2 more stage fatalities, I think that they should have had more in the game upon the DLC's launch than there were. Now, I've heard rumors that over time they'll add in more stage fatalities, and I know that beggars can't always be choosers. However, I still wish that we had more stage fatalities to start off with. Again, for what we got, they're pretty good. Right? They all look really good, and I really like the Deadpool one. It's genuinely really cool. But again, I still wish that there were more of them from the start, rather than them being added in gradually. I hope that the rumors are true, because there are a lot of stages that I think should have stage fatalities. For instance, the Special Forces Desert Command could have a really cool stage fatality. Kotal's Coliseum, or even the Coliseum Beast Pen, could be kind of cool to have a stage fatality on. You could see a pretty good one in the Soul Chamber, if you want to do another new stage. You know, throw somebody in the Soul Chamber and let their soul be sucked away or something, kind of like Shang Tsung would do.
You waste my time.
Or, heck, you know how after you beat one of the... After you beat Kronika in the classic towers, how she has her own unique fatality involving the Hourglass? Why not have the Hourglass stage have a stage fatality where your opponent will have that fatality performed on them? I think that'd be pretty cool. So again, if any Netherrealm developers end up actually watching this video, there are some ideas for some cool maps for stage fatalities to be added on. Because every character has the option to perform a stage fatality. However, it's kind of confusing because it's not really explained which maps have them. I had to resort to a guide before I knew exactly which maps had the stage fatalities. Because they're listed as... they're under the fatality list, they're mentioned there on every stage, under every character. Which is fine, however, it's confusing because we don't always know where the stage fatalities are. I think MKX did a really good job with this, where the stage fatality input option only appeared on stages where you could actually do a stage fatality. Another interesting thing they did with it was that every character stage fatality, it has different button inputs. Which I mean, sure, fine, whatever. Just kind of weird that something as uniform as a stage fatality doesn't have a uniform button input. Again, kind of weird, but whatever. So again, I think they should change it so that the option under the fatality menu to do a stage fatality, that button input shouldn't show up unless you're on a stage that actually has a stage fatality, to prevent confusion and just for some quality of life. But again, the stage fatalities are a pretty good feature, and I like all the stages that they added in. For this section, the stages are a 10. Stage fatalities are currently a 7 or 8 due to how few of them there were at launch. Again, they're good, just wish there were more at launch. You know, Mortal Kombat has a reputation of being excessively violent. However, with this update, friendships have made their big return. So instead of killing somebody violently, you can do the opposite. You can make friends with them. With this update, every character has a has a friendship where they can do something the opposite of violent to their opponents. Whether that be dance around, summon a giant teddy bear, paint, you name it. Every character has their own unique friendship that can be performed at the end of a match. They all have a lot of quality put into them, and a lot of them are references either to characters' talents. I mean, a lot of them are just goofy, but a lot of them play off a character's strengths. Like Scorpion uses his spear, Fujin uses his wind powers to fly a kite. Noob Saibot creates clones of himself to help him jump rope. But each character has their own high-quality friendship to spice up the end of a confrontation. Now, I think that in some cases, doing a friendship could be even more insulting than a fatality. Because, you know, I hate to make this comparison, but in Fortnite, you know, dancing on people's bodies isn't exactly a violent thing to do. However, it's a disrespectful thing to do. So instead of finishing somebody off good and proper, you leave them alive just to paint over top of them. So again, to some, maybe that's more insulting than getting killed. Also, it's kind of weird to see Mortal Kombat characters all smiley and happy. It's kind of creepy, to be honest. We get a chance to learn a lot about characters' interests, like who knew Cabal was into the xylophone? I mean, he is now. He killed it. But again, I like all of the friendships. It's a creative and fun thing to have back in the game. And I'm thankful that they decided to add these in for free versus make you pay for the DLC. And I'm telling you, the Mortal Kombat cast should start up a band. We could have Sheeva playing glasses, Sindel singing, Cabal on the xylophone, and Epic Jax guy. But I'm really happy with how the friendships turned out. They're all pretty cool. 10 out of 10, like the friendships. But now then, it's time to get into some spoiler territory. So if you haven't completed the main story of Mortal Kombat 11 or played through the DLC storyline yet, then please turn back now, because we're going to get into some spoiler territory where we're going to cover the main story of the DLC, which of course has main storyline spoilers as well. So if you haven't played through either, please go do so before continuing on. I will have a link or a timestamp in the description for you to click on so you can jump to an area that doesn't have spoilers. But you can also, hopefully if I can set it up right, click on the section on the video bar, on the play bar, to where we're not talking about the story anymore. So you can avoid spoilers and still watch the video. So without further ado, people who don't want spoilers, click away now. Here we go. So at the end of Mortal Kombat 11 Classic, Fire God Liu Kang, the fused form of Raiden and Liu Kang, defeats Kronika. However, during the fight, Liu Kang ends up destroying Kronika's crown, which is the only key to resetting and fixing the timeline. So, as Liu Kang tries to restart time without the crown, he will unintentionally destroy time itself. But thankfully, Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, and Fujin show up through a portal open from the void after Kronika's death to warn him that messing with the hourglass without the crown will result in total annihilation of reality, pretty much. Shang Tsung proposes that in order to recreate time, Liu Kang could send Shang Tsung back in time to steal the crown from his own island before Kronika can send Cetrion to fetch the same thing. Therefore, preventing Kronika from ever getting the crown making the final battle easier and allowing Liu Kang to reshape time. Of course, Raiden and Liu Kang are at first apprehensive. However, Liu Kang knows that it's more than likely a trick. So he takes Fujin aside and briefs him on his own secret plan. Liu Kang plans on going with Shang Tsung, however, he plans on double-crossing him at the end, at uncertain costs. Fujin's not really too happy about it, but goes with it. Liu Kang tells Shang Tsung that he will agree to the deal as long as Nightwolf and Fujin can go with him as supervision. Shang Tsung agrees, and the group is transported back in time, somehow, to Kotal's Coliseum during the big battle between Shao Kahn and Kitana. Realizing that they've arrived in the timeline later than they needed to, the trio sneaks through Outworld to try to return to Earthrealm. However, they are spotted by the Collector in the Coliseum, who informs Kronika of the return of the trio. Before the events of even the main game, Shang Tsung, Fujin, and Nightwolf are reached out to by Kronika in an attempt to solicit their service. The three of them refused, so Kronika locked them all into the Void Space, which is where they were the entirety of the base game story. So, in this timeline, while Kronika's death in the main timeline allowed the trio to return, and this return to the old timeline, the trio is still supposed to be locked in the Void, and their return puts a hamper on Kronika's plan. So she has to retaliate to counteract their return. Shang Tsung realizes that Kronika will be on them soon, so he knows that he will need a plan to defeat an Elder God. Instead of going straight to Earthrealm to recover the crown, Shang Tsung proposes that the trio ventures to the Netherrealm, raids Shinnok's Bone Temple, and kidnaps Sindel's Revenant in order to restore her and bring her back because she apparently is strong enough to tangle with Cetrion. Because even with a demigod like Fujin, someone as powerful as Nightwolf and Shang Tsung, they alone are no match for Cetrion. And someone as powerful as Sindel, who defeated pretty much the entire Earthrealm Defense Force in Mortal Kombat 9, would be an excellent asset to have on the team. So with some hesitation, the group agrees, and they go to the Netherrealm and successfully kidnap Sindel. They also require the aid of someone in Outworld because they need to get to the Soul Chamber. Because after Quan Chi died in MKX, the Soul Chamber, as well as Earthrealm's Jinsei, is the only way to resurrect a Revenant. During the Netherrealm fight, Shang Tsung kills Nightwolf's Revenant and absorbs his soul, increasing Shang Tsung's own strength for later on. So the trio goes to talk to Sheeva, because in life, during Sindel's lifetime, Sheeva was Sindel's personal bodyguard. And even though she failed to protect Sindel during her first death, her guilt still resides with her, and her loyalty, although she has been dealing with Kitana, her loyalty still lies to Sindel. So Sheeva agrees to escort the trio to the Soul Chamber because Kitana's guards will surely try to capture and kill Shang Tsung on sight. Once they reach the Deadpool, Aaron Black and Baraka confront them. Baraka smells Shang Tsung and reveals his identity, which ends up in a random Dark Cotton biting the dust. Combat ensues, and Aaron Black and Baraka are both incapacitated. Hearing the ruckus, Jade shows up because she's been tending to Kotal's wounds following Kotal's spine injury given to him by Shao Kahn. He is currently being healed. Kotal Kahn is currently being healed in the Soul Chamber, and Jade does not want him disturbed. Even though she learns that Sindel is going to be revived using the Soul Chamber, she still does not want Kotal disrupted and believes that Sheeva is under the influence of Shang Tsung's magic and is then knocked unconscious. When the group arrives in the Soul Chamber, Kotal Kahn wakes up, sees Shang Tsung. A brief fight between Kotal and Sheeva begins. Sheeva has a bit of bad blood with Kotal anyway because Kotal killed Goro. But during the fight, Shang Tsung and Fujin begin reviving Revenant Sindel. After Kotal is knocked unconscious, Kitana arrives. Sheeva beats the crap out of her. But by the time Sheeva is finished with Kitana, Sindel is revived. And just as Shang Tsung promised, her more heroic side was restored. I say that in quotes. She looks human, or Edenian. However, she still has a dark side lurking about her. After a brief mother-daughter reunion, the group goes to Earthrealm to recover the crown from Shang Tsung's island. They fight Revenant's Cabal and Jade. But before the fight, Sindel disses Raiden, which is a classic bad guy sign when a hero is being attacked by or verbally assaulted by another character. That's usually I'm a villain sign. So Shang Tsung and Fujin go after the crown, and Nightwolf and Sindel wait outside to counter Cetrion when she arrives. Shang Tsung and Fujin fight Jax and Noob Saibot. Fujin manages to save Jax from Kronika's lies, as well as from Shang Tsung, who tries to steal his soul by using a fire snake. Shang Tsung doesn't care that Fujin tried to stop him, though. And the group gets the crown and gets ready to head out. But Cetrion has arrived and is actually beating the crap out of Nightwolf and Sindel. Although the two of them quickly get the upper hand, and Shang Tsung and Fujin arrive on scene, and the quartet defeats Cetrion and sends her back to Kronika's side. Now Jax and Jackie, younger Jax and Jackie, have arrived on the island. Are getting ready to attack Shang Tsung until older Jax comes out and says that don't shoot. Sindel and Shang Tsung are on our side now. So the group splits up because the crown's in possession and they have to do some final preparations. Sindel goes back to Outworld to aid Kitana Khan. Nightwolf goes with both Jaxes and Jackie to brief the special forces on the upcoming battle. And Fujin and Shang Tsung go to the Shirai Ryu Fire Garden to brief Raiden on the battle and to give Raiden Kronika's crown. After beating the crap out of Raiden, because again, Raiden doesn't trust Shang Tsung and believes that Fujin's under the influence of Shang Tsung's magic, Kronika arrives, freezes everybody except for Raiden, Fujin, and Shang Tsung, reveals that Shang Tsung was the architect of her crown, which makes sense because Shang Tsung knows the crown like the back of his hand. Fujin ends up using the crown to stun Kronika. Shang Tsung helps as well, and Raiden wakes up again, and the trio defeats Kronika, and she flees back to her keep. As an act to say, I'm still on your side, Shang Tsung hands the crown over to Raiden, and then goes to brief Sindel. The next scene we see Sindel talking to Shang Tsung over some sort of hologram projector / makeup pincushion thing where she discusses her disgust with Kitana and how disappointed she is in Kitana's leadership, and how she looks forward to killing Kitana and taking back Outworld for Shao Kahn. But when Kitana walks in, she acts all lovey-dovey towards her, but ends up going down to the Coliseum Beast Pens where Shao Kahn is being held captive after being blinded in the previous fight. Shao Kahn is being guarded by 2 Shokan guards. Sindel kills both of them. Sheeva arrives. And Sindel, I don't know if she technically killed Sheeva or not, but she's described to be out of commission. But we don't really know how bad it is. After Sindel defeats Sheeva, some Shokan guards arrive, where Sindel spins the story that Kitana was a traitor and Sheeva was being the good guy and trying to stop Kitana, but she got killed, and now Sheeva needs to be avenged. The Shokan swear loyalty to Sindel and Shao Kahn again. Although we're never really explained if Sheeva's actually dead or not, because we never actually see her die. We see her fall down at the end of the fight, but there's no killing blow or whatever. That's just a loose end. The Sindel and Shao Kahn use the Soul Chamber to restore Shao Kahn's eyesight. Garrus arrives, and whichever character you pick to play as beats the crap out of him, and then Shao Kahn breaks his skull in. And then, even though Garrus can come back from the dead, he never comes back again after having his head bashed in. So, again, another loose end. Where the frick did Garrus go? But Shao Kahn and Sindel both ambush the Special Forces at the Sea of Blood, capture young Johnny Cage, Cassie Cage, and young Sonya Blade, and then keep them all as slaves, taking them back to Outworld. They then board one of Charon's ships and overtake Kitana's ship quickly, where they kill Kotal, toss Kung Lao into the Sea of Blood. Don't really know what they did with Jade because we don't really see that. Beat the crap out of Kitana and enslave her as well, and kill Liu Kang. During this fight at Cetrion's Keep, the main group have arrived, including both Jaxes, Scorpion, Young Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Fujin, Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, and Jackie, as well as the Shaolin monks, or not Shaolin monks, as well as some of the Outworld army. The Aztec group had arrived, as well as some special forces. But the main force was still waiting because, again, the main group of special forces, Shaolin monks, and main Outworld group never arrived due to Shao Kahn's ambush. Raiden confronts Revenant Liu Kang, however, his limbs start breaking off because Shao Kahn is killing younger Liu Kang, preventing Raiden from fusing with Revenant Liu Kang to create Fire God Liu Kang. After a bit of trickery, Shang Tsung manages to steal back Kronika's crown for himself, kills Raiden, Fujin, and Nightwolf. Shao Kahn and his goons arrive, revealing that Kotal's dead, and the Aztec now follow Shao Kahn. Now, the army charges into Kronika's hourglass chamber, kills her Netherrealm guards, and Sindel, Shang Tsung, and Shao Kahn kill the Revenant, Kung Lao, Jade, and Kitana, who have been enhanced with Cetrion's power. Shang Tsung then betrays Sindel and Shao Kahn, absorbs their souls, kills Cetrion, and then prepares to rewrite history for himself. Until Fire God Liu Kang arrives, revealing that this was part of his plan to get Shang Tsung by himself, prevent Shao Kahn and Sindel from interfering, and then taking the crown back. Where he knew that Shang Tsung was going to betray, so he was thinking several steps ahead. Depending on who you choose, you can either pick to play as Liu Kang or Shang Tsung in this final fight. That'll shape your ending. Liu Kang reshapes history and picks the great Kung Lao as his Earthrealm champion. And Shang Tsung makes himself an Elder God, making Raiden, Fujin, and the entire Mortal Kombat cast serve him. So again, you have options this time on how you want the game to end, because previously, your only endings were good ending or bad ending, if you want to call it that, because it's not really an ending, it's just an alternative circumstance that happens after or if Kronika kills you. There's no actual alternative or evil ending for the main story, however, Aftermath gives that to you. So that's pretty cool, and again, that however you want the game to end, that goes down to you. I think the canon ending is Liu Kang's, however, I don't really know. I guess we'll have to wait until MK12 or the next story DLC if there is going to be one. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Now again, there were several plot holes for the story. Again, what happened to Garrus, what happened to Kung Lao, Jade, and Sheeva. Where's older Johnny? I was hoping they were going to explain that with this, because after his chapter in the main storyline, we never see old Johnny again. He just kind of vanishes. I was hoping Aftermath would answer that, but we don't get that at all, which is a bit of a disappointment. But again, we don't... The plot holes, like Garrus not coming back, why? The entire time he's been said to be immortal, you can't kill him, he just keeps coming back. Where the frick did he go? Also, what happened to Kung Lao? He was just tossed in the sea of blood, sure, but he's Kung Lao. Couldn't he have just pulled himself back out of there somehow, or showed up again at some point towards the end of the story? Somehow? I don't know. We know he didn't die because Revenant him is still around. But nonetheless, it is still kind of weird. Also, what happened to Jade? We don't really see her except for like a quick frame in the Shao Kahn Sindel's fight against the Shaolin / Outworld leadership. That's all we get to see of her. We don't know if she lived or died or what happened to her. So there are some plot holes in the story, and it's not perfect, but I liked it. I liked the story. It was pretty good. I give it like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. It's still pretty high. I liked it a lot. I liked how it actually gave you choices on how you wanted the story to end. However, there were some kind of annoying plot holes that just kind of prevented me from giving it a 10 this time. But definitely a solid continuation of Mortal Kombat's story, and gave some characters like Shao Kahn some much more needed screen time than he got in the main story for MK11. Because he kind of got shafted for the main story, just kind of existing and then dying, but this kind of brought back the old unstoppable Emperor Shao Kahn was in MK9 to an extent. So I'm happy with that. However, there is something that the community is not happy about. Let's talk about one of the big controversies about the story. Sindel's betrayal was supposed to be one of the big twists of the story. However, many fans didn't want Sindel to betray. After Sindel was released as a DLC character last year, and her Classic Tower ending was revealed, Sindel fans were not happy. Because in previous incarnations and in the earlier games, Sindel was a tragic character, manipulated by Shao Kahn and Quan Chi to be evil, but wasn't actually evil, and actually committed suicide because she didn't want to serve under Shao Kahn, and was only revived in MK9 due to Quan Chi's magic. However, this ending makes it so that she actually killed her husband and was with Shao Kahn from the start, and Quan Chi just killed her for reasons. So, fans are completely outraged over this retcon. And while I kind of like her being evil, she's always been the evil boss lady after killing like half the cast in Mortal Kombat 9. You know, I understand why people are outraged. It kind of reminds me of what Star Wars did to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, completely changing his character for, in my opinion, the worse. So, again, I understand what it's like to have a character that you like be retconned in a way that isn't true to the character you knew and love, and is just overall disingenuous to everything that character stood for, and is an overall insult to fans who like that character. Again, while I do like Evil Sindel, I do also understand the reasons behind the backlash. So that is the Sindel controversy. I am kind of neutral on it, but I can understand both sides. There is also another friendship that is being targeted by fans for being kind of mean towards them, or teasing them. Let's just show it, right?
Friends, Kitana wins. Fight.
In Kitana's friendship, Melina makes an appearance, and the two of them hug and whatever. But Melina's stands have been asking for Melina to be put into Mortal Kombat 11 for months, and now Melina is technically in-game, but is not a playable character. And the friendship was shown on the official Mortal Kombat Instagram account with the caption, "Yes, Melina's in-game. No, she is not playable." Which was a big slap in the face to all the major Melina fans who were writhing whining because their favorite character wasn't put into the game. Usually, if a character is put into a game but isn't playable, or put into the game but isn't playable with Mortal Kombat, it usually means that they're not going to be playable. As you can see with Reptile, Armac, and Smoke, with being part of Shang Tsung's moveset. More than likely, we won't get those characters in upcoming DLC, although I could be wrong. As well as we might not be getting Cyrax or Sector back in the game, because 1, they were in the story mode, 2, they were already used as DLC character in MKX, and NetherRealm doesn't like reusing characters for DLC. I believe they have explicitly in the past said that none of the DLC characters will be used again. So if that is true, then we more than likely won't be getting the Cyber Ninjas back unless we're using PC mods. Which again is unfortunate, but understandable. We don't want to You don't want to really dry out your character pool, because there are still a lot of Mortal Kombat characters they can put in for DLC. You know, Netherrealm and Ed Boon have both had a reputation of kind of teasing and trolling fans, which, again, in some cases could be a bad thing, but I believe it is just for fun with Netherrealm. They don't actually mean to hurt anybody. In my opinion, their Molina comment was pretty funny, because while Molina stands have been more and more prevalent in recent months, there are a fair amount of people who are also annoyed with these people for just doing nothing productive but whine for Molina. Which, again, yeah, it's kind of annoying when the only thing you can do is just complain over and over again about not getting a character you want in the game. It's Netherrealm's choice whether or not they're going to add in anybody for DLC. But again, there's more than likely going to be 3 combat packs, because they did 3 character packs for Injustice 2, and they might do that again for this game. So just keep an eye on the combat packs, because who knows, maybe they will actually add in Molina. I don't know. Again, just going to keep tabs on that and see where we go and see where we get. Maybe they'll add Molina, maybe they'll add the Cyber Ninjas, maybe they'll add that Ash Williams guy everyone keeps fussing about. We'll see what goes down. Just keep an eye on the combat packs. But overall, this update has been really good for the game, and there's still a lot of stuff to experience. I still have yet to see all the characters' friendships. I still have yet to fully learn the ins and outs of all the new characters, although I'm still trying my darndest to get good. For the characters, I'm going to give the update a 10 out of 10. For the friendships, another 10. For the stages, another 10. For the stage fatalities, it is going to be a 7 for now, because of how few there were at launch. And for the story, it's going to be an 8, due to some really weird plot holes. And I'm going to take the side of the Sindel lovers here for just for this, for causing controversy by squandering a character. It would have been nice to have Sindel be a heroine rather than a villain. Even though I like her as a villain, I still was kind of hoping that they wouldn't make her a villain for Aftermath. I would be fine with it if it was just, you know, she was a villain in an alternate timeline, because that's possible now because of Mortal Kombat 11's main story being focused around time being weird. So that would be fine if her tower ending was an alternate timeline and not canon or whatever. Although it seems like it actually is canon. So, yep, 8 out of 10 for story. Overall, I think it'd be like an 8.5 out of 10 for the entire update. I would give it a 9, but at the same time I feel like I'm being already way too... I feel like I'm being just over the top positive. Now, is it worth a buy? Yes and no. While I have done a lot of raving about this update, it's still hilariously overpriced. It's a solid $40 for this update, or for this DLC. And while you can still experience the friendships, new stages, and stage fatalities for free, for three characters and a story mode, it's overpriced. The game itself is still sitting at a solid $60, so you're going to be putting in a lot of money if you want the base game as well as Aftermath. So luckily you can still experience a fair amount of the content because it's free, i.e. the new stages, stage fatals, and friendships. So at least that stuff's free. However, the update's really good, but wait, the DLC itself's really good, but I would recommend waiting for a sale where, you know, it's cheaper. You can grab it there, or if you have extra Steam funds or PlayStation funds or whatever platform you play on, if you have extra funds laying around, sure. But I wouldn't buy it full price at the moment unless you have spare funds or funds that won't be actually drawing out of your bank account, or if it goes on sale. But again, that's my take on Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. Let me know what you guys think. Do you have any thoughts on the Melina controversy? What are your thoughts on the stage fatalities? Am I being too positive with the characters? Or is my opinion just? Or more importantly, if you've played as any of the characters, have you had a lot of fun with them as well? Let me know all that stuff in the comment section down below. Also, check the description for the links to the Discord server, where you can converse with like-minded individuals, be updated frequently whenever new videos are released or when I'm going live, as well as schedule changes and that sort of thing. You can also get access to some cool server-related perks, which I'm still working on, but for now you can get, if you merely critique me or leave any kind of feedback or suggestions under a certain text channel on the server, you will get a special rank on the server, which will be getting some cool perks in the near future. So be sure to join there. Also, at some point I'm planning on having a chat with me session, so anybody can sit down and just have a conversation for a bit. Maybe even play some games, who knows. But a link to the server will be in the description down below. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching, and as always, Maxusthebeast is out. Oh, you guys are still here? Hey, if you're still sticking around. Listen guys, I know it's pretty hectic right now, but I just wanted to say, trust me, it's gonna get better eventually. Just stay strong, and just keep on keeping on. I believe in each and every one of you. We'll get through this as a nation and as a people. But do what you can to support those fighting against injustice. While I'm not one to get political on YouTube, something needs to be said. So please find ways to support the friendly, peaceful protesters to help in their efforts, as well as combat police brutality.
Round 2. Fight.
Anyway guys, thanks again for watching, and please do what you can. As always, Maxusthebeast is out.